What have you noticed about the mood of the nation under this extraordinary stress of the nightly bombardments, which, as far as I can tell, are worse now than they were even at the very beginning?
Yes, so it is now more dangerous to be in central Kyiv than it is at any time since 22. I was there when the Russian army was 12 miles from the centre. In London terms, if it were in Westminster, the Russian army was in Hendon or something like that. Now, and that was scary, and you could hear the guns from the front, and if you were behind Russian lines, you were in trouble. But essentially, you weren't being attacked by drones. And, you know, I can remember, I think we first met in Croatia in 91.
Yeah.
And I'm an old war reporter, just like you, and I've been bombed and shot at and shelled, but drones scare me.
Yeah. And they're a different class of menace, aren't they?
There's a different class of menace, and they're a bit like Stukas from the Second World War, in that there's a kind of naff, banal, low-rent version, but you can hear these kind of like mopeds in the sky. It's a two-stroke engine that powers the Iranian-designed Shahed drones, which are the big things. And on Monday night, the night after the wedding, I was in Kyiv, and you just hear this moped coming at you, and I'm afraid. Yeah. And I'm, you know, not a timid man, but I'm afraid of these damn things. 9 people were killed that night, and they've done it again just last night too, as well. A bit of perspective: the worst night of the Blitz, the London Blitz in 1941, I think 1,300 people were killed. So this is bad, but it's nothing like what London put up with. And I think that Trump's narrative that the Ukrainians have got no cards, that you shouldn't pick a war with somebody who's much bigger than you, obviously that's nonsense, because Ukraine did not start this war. Russia did twice. They invaded in 2014 in a limited way, and then again the big war in 22. And it really is the case, as Alexandra, who I've met in London, who's a wonderful voice for Ukraine, was saying, is, you know, this is an existential war. They're not going to give up. And the problem is that Trump and some of the crooks around him, and I use the word advisedly, I think, they just see Russian gold, and they like this, you know, they like it. So they want to push a peace deal, which is not a peace deal. It's a submission to the Kremlin, because they see the money and they want to do business with fascist Russia. And the Ukrainians don't want it. So at some point, there's going to be a big, big crash when the design. What's scary about this new version of the Trump peace plan is that it's not the Trump peace plan, it's the Trump family peace plan, because Kushner, the son-in-law, is there, and right at the heart of it. And so at some point there's going to be a crash between these two forces. Ukrainians aren't going to give in. They don't want to surrender, and if they surrender, that's the end of them. And the Americans, or the Trump Americans, who want a deal because they want to get rich. Yeah. And the two things won't work. And
all Putin has to do is sit on the sidelines, you know, watch basically Trump negotiate with the Europeans and the Ukrainians, or add loggerheads with each other, and he just carries on bombing every night, knowing that time is probably more on his side than on the Ukraine side. I just a question, John. I wonder to what extent, in the middle of all this, and I've spoken to people in Kyiv who are outraged by this corruption scandal, because it involves 100 million quid that should have been spent on, protecting nuclear generators, building shelters. That's gone into people's pockets. I mean, that must be really annoying. Does it weaken the war effort and the resilience or not?
It's trouble. I don't want to overstate the trouble, but one of my friends spoke to a Ukrainian fighter who said, well, what the hell am I risking my life for? The people at the top are feathering their own nest and not defending the country properly. Having said that, I do think that Zelensky needs to change the way he runs things. So what happened in Britain, and it's a similar war, the Second World War, what happened in Britain was that Churchill made an alliance with the Labour Party, and the Deputy Prime Minister was Clement Attlee. And Attlee was wonderful And he and the Labour movement got behind the entire war effort. And there was, Attlee said to the unions, don't go on strike, support the war effort. And together, there was a government of national unity. And that is what I think most of my friends in Ukraine would want to see. And that Zelensky hasn't done that yet, but I think he could do that. I think this tension's not great. I think it's very good that Yermak has stood down. This corruption crisis was terrible, and Yermak was and the miss, the big in the corruption crisis, was Zelensky's former partner in his comedy kind of studio venture, and Yermak was the lawyer. So the three of them go back a long way, and it was right and proper for Yermak. Yermak should have gone months, maybe years ago.
So this could be good news, him departing.
I think it's very good news because it tells you two things. One is that Ukraine's belief in the rule of law and the proper enforcement of it is good, and it works even on this pressure.
That's what Alexander was saying as well. Absolutely.
Yes. To be honest with you, Matt, I'd love the Ukrainian anti-corruption people to pop over to the White House and give them a bit of water.
The thing is, they'll never leave. They'll be stuck there for various reasons.
Well, yes.
Yeah, just finally and very briefly, because we're running out of time. The fact that you've got this graft corruption scandal in Ukraine, and the fact that you've got the Trump administration and family literally trying to, fleece Ukraine's natural resources, with a gun to their head, that will make, ordinary Ukrainians who are giving their lives for this war effort to survive as a country, that'll make them even more upset, won't it? And they will not go for a deal that basically extracts all the natural resources from Ukraine with very little profit.
If I want to say this to American big oil and big money, listening to my Ukrainian friends, you think if you sell out, if you betray Ukraine, you think you're going to do good business when the war is over. You've got another thing coming. You must be joking. That the Ukrainians will be very, very happy to deal with the Baltics, maybe with us, because we're still good friends with Ukraine and we're loyal with the Germans, with the French. But if Trump goes ahead with this, the Ukrainians are going to say to Trump, "We don't care.
Okay.
Take your stupid stuff and get out of here. You're in trouble."